Okay, today's notes are for To Kill a Mockingbird, chapters 16 and 17. So we begin in chapter 16 with the idea of us and them. Aunt Alexandra makes the comment about, oh, don't talk about Negroes in front of them, or they will keep doing this and saying that. So this divide that there is between the people, that there's a them and then there's us. We see a lot of prejudice in Aunt Alexandra. Aunt Alexandra scolds Atticus for talking in front of Calpurnia. The fact that he makes a comment about Negroes and how dare he do that. Next we see Dolphus Raymond versus society. This is another us versus them. He was a white man. He had status because he owned land and had been there several generations, but he had a relationship with a black woman, had children with her, wouldn't have been allowed to marry her because of the racial laws and prejudice at the time. They even give a little of his history that supposedly he was going to marry a woman who found out about his relationship with this black woman and then killed herself as a result. The point is, we see he does things his own way. He won't sit with the white people. In the town square, he sits with the black people. It's an us versus them mentality. Okay, we also then see Mr. Cunningham versus Atticus. Now this is in Jem's mind. It's not clear that this is an out and out them versus us battle, but Jem is rooting for his dad. Okay, the fact that he sees so many Cunninghams in the court kind of bothers and upsets him. The fact that he sees Cunninghams on the jury, knowing that there had been Cunninghams at the lynch mob, really upsets him deeply. Then we see in chapter 17, the trial begins. Mr. Tate, we remember this is the sheriff, his testimony was Mayella was hit on her right. Again, it would seem opposite to him, so he had to stop and think it out. But in the end, it is her right side. We then have the important fact that no doctor was called. Because no doctor was called, they were not able to prove that a rape had taken place. All of this is going to be allegations and someone's word against someone else's word. The next point, so after the sheriff is done on the witness stand, Mr. Ewell, the father of the young girl, goes on to the stand. So Mr. Ewell, it is noted, writes with his left hand. So the important point there is the fact that if he was hitting with his left, it would hit her on her right because of that mirror image type impact. We also are given a description of what the Ewell's home and life is like. It is by the dump and it looks like a dump. No windows, broken down dentist chairs, cars, bottle, all kinds of awful things in the yard. They make the comment about the fact that there's no food for the varmints, the creatures, to eat because this family is eating everything there. It had been a Negro home, and the rest of the Negroes live further on in their own community. Again, if you can, take a look at the map. That will help you. The one thing we also note is that it is a dump except for Mayella's flowers. She has little red geraniums that she has planted, kind of showing she is trying to do something better than her surroundings. Some important quotes to note. On page 156, don't talk like that in front of them. Again, this them versus us. We see prejudice and we see secrets. Aunt Alexandra doesn't want Calpurnia to know what's going on in the family. She wants to keep this image of everything's perfect. She wants secrets. So we see prejudice and secrets. Don't talk like that in front of them. Page 158. don't bear a grudge no matter what. Atticus says, hey, I know there was a Cunningham in this mob. There were other people in this mob. Don't bear a grudge no matter what. He has courage again for his beliefs. He's going to stand up for what's right. And he doesn't want it to become a further division. Okay, notes on themes and motifs. Page 156. The mob is like a mad dog. So Scout sees the comparison. She sees the fact that the way Atticus was pushing up his glasses, the way he pushed up his hat was the same. There was a same level of seriousness, and that mob was as deadly as that rabid dog. So we see education. She is learning what really happened. In the moment, she was very innocent, thinking these were just like the neighbors who had been on her lawn. What we see is she starts to understand more. It's an education, not a formal education, but a different kind of education. Page 156, we start to see blind spots. So Atticus has poor vision physically. One eye isn't great. He has to wear the glasses. The kids think he's old and feeble. Okay? But others have impaired social vision. So it's a figurative blindness. They can see physically okay, but they're blind to the fact that what they're doing is wrong. One of the characters is drinking whiskey, supposedly, out of this paper bag, but everyone turns a blind eye to it. Oh, it's just his way. Oh, he has a black wife. That's just his way. So they are willing to turn a blind eye to some things and not others. It's a figurative blindness. They are choosing to be blind. Page 161, we talk about trash. So once again, what is the definition of trash? In that society, white trash would still rank higher than blacks. In that society, you didn't own the land. You were on welfare. You were very poor. Their house looked like trash. But the thing that made them better was the color of their skin. So what really is the definition of trash? Something to think about. Okay, for this, we're going to go all of chapter 16. It's not a specific page number. We see the social correct version of the trial because it's told by a white person. So we have the sheriff who's white, and we have the father who's white. So this is what society wants to hear. However, what do we see also? Mr. Ewell is crude on the stand. He makes nasty comments, almost gets kicked out by the judge. Okay, he's more concerned about the color of the attacker than his daughter's injuries. He never even thinks to call for a doctor because he's more concerned about, well, I saw the who did it. So again, we see this is the white person version. This is the socially correct version. Couple more things. Sorry, this one is a little bit lengthier. As we get to the trial, this is the heart of the story. This is a lot of where we're going to learn the themes and what is trying to be told here. We see some new characters. We see Judge John Taylor, who seems very sleepy, but is in fact very alert. He cares about justice because he's the one who appointed Atticus, knowing Atticus wasn't just going to do half of the job. He was going to do it to the best of his abilities. We see Mr. Gilmer, who's the prosecuting attorney. So he is the one presenting the case against Tom Robinson. Atticus is the defense. So Mr. Gilmer is putting forth questions. Both Jem and Scout know that he's not the enemy. Other kids might have felt that way, but they just know their father is going to be fair and do the right thing. We see more about Bob Ewell. This is the father of the victim. This is Burris Ewell's father. We see that he is white trash. Again, he's very crude, and he's enjoying his moment in the spotlight, and he enjoyed making the audience laugh at his crudeness. Okay? We also see again Reverend Sykes. We had met him briefly before. He was the preacher at Calpurnia's church. He's also the one looking out for the children at the trial. They couldn't find anywhere to watch. They weren't supposed to be there. But he finds a place for them in the colored balcony. Again, this segregation where they can't even sit where the white people would sit. Okay. 2 vocab words for today. There are both verbs. You have articulate, and this one means to express clearly. So that's vocally to express. So if I'm trying to help you understand, I need to articulate my thoughts, express them clearly. And then last but not least, we have expunge. This particularly we see legal terms. It means to erase. So if you did something wrong as a very young child, you could ask a judge to expunge your record as an adult. So say, please erase this record because look, I never did anything else wrong. So this is a legal term, and again, we will see the trial continue in chapters 18 and 19. Have a great day.